I used to work for a radio station called 102.7 Fresh. And Mariah and I would talk all the time. And I was like, Mariah, she was going away to England. I know she was coming back. I said, listen, I'm doing Under the Stars with Brenda K. Starr. I'm going to be doing, it's all love songs and some, up-tempo songs. I want to play your stuff. I want to do an interview with you. She was like, absolutely, absolutely. So I was plugging it and plugging it and plugging it. And the night we were supposed to do the interview, she didn't call. And she was like, I was trying to reach her, I couldn't get her. And then long story short, the interview never happened. And she was like, well, you should have reached out to my assistant, Teresa. And I'm like, why do I have to reach out to her when I talk to you? So I was so mad at her. And like, two people, when you're friends, you have a misunderstanding. So I was like, that's pretty screwed up. How could you do that? I was like, you know what? I don't even want to talk to you. Forget it. I'm done. You're so full of it. I'm like, don't forget where you came from.
Most people know Mariah Carey's name, but do they know about the woman who handed her fame on a silver platter and then watched her walk away without looking back? This is the story of Brenda K. Starr, the girl from the Bronx who danced her way into a Hollywood film at 14, dominated the freestyle charts in the 80s, discovered one of the biggest voices in music history, and then lost it all. But here's the twist. She clawed her way back to the top in a completely different genre, only to ignite one of the most explosive feuds Latin music has ever seen. Buckle up, because this story has more plot twists than a telenovela. October 15, 1966, New York City. A baby girl named Brenda Kaplan enters the world, half Jewish, half Puerto Rican, and destined to break barriers in ways no one could predict. Growing up at the melting pot of the Bronx, Brenda didn't have much, but what she lacked in money, she made up for in ambition. By age 8, she was already singing. By 12, she was auditioning for commercials and theater productions, hungry for her shot at stardom. But then, at just 14 years old, fate knocked on the door in the form of Harry Belafonte. She was just a teenager with big dreams, and she gets cast in Beat Street, a 1984 hip-hop film that would become a cultural phenomenon. Brenda didn't just act, she played herself and sang on screen. Hey you, yeah, I'm talking to you. The moment was electric. Audiences noticed, and more importantly, record executives noticed.
Well, I could say the first time that I ever remember recording was it was my 12th birthday. And there's 7 of us in my family. And I always wanted to sing, and I would sing in talent shows.
That role, it landed her a record deal with Mirage Records. The girl from the Bronx was officially on her way. While other teenagers were worried about homework and prom, Brenda was signing contracts and stepping into recording studios. She was living proof that talent and timing could change everything. The 1980s were the golden age of freestyle music, a hybrid of electronic beats, Latin rhythms, and pure dance floor magic. And Brenda K. Starr, she owned it. Her breakout hit, I Still Believe, became an anthem. The song climbed to #1 on the dance charts and turned Brenda into a household name. Clubs from Miami to Manhattan played her tracks on repeat. She was young, she was fierce, and she was unstoppable. The energy of the freestyle scene was intoxicating. Brenda wasn't just riding a wave, she was creating it. Her voice, her style, her presence commanded attention. She became the face of a movement that blended cultures and sounds in a way that had never been done before. But here's where the story gets interesting, because while Brenda was riding high, she was about to make a decision that would change music history and haunt her for decades. In late 1980s, Brenda is on tour and she needs a backup singer. Enter a young unknown girl with a voice that could shatter glass, Mariah Carey. Mariah was struggling. She was working odd jobs, sleeping on couches, and desperately trying to get noticed. But Brenda saw something special. She didn't just hire Mariah, she believed in her.
Oh, she was so much like me with a drive, great voice.
One night, Brenda did something that would alter the course of pop music forever. She took Mariah to a party where Sony music executive Tommy Mottola was in attendance. Brenda handed him Mariah's demo tape and said, "You need to hear this, girl." Mottola listened, and the rest, history. Mariah Carey became one of the best-selling artists of all time, with a net worth now estimated at over $340 million. She dominated the 90s, broke records, and became a global icon. Her 5-octave range became legendary. Her Christmas songs became cultural staples. She was everywhere. And Brenda, she watched from the sidelines as the girl she discovered left her behind. At first, Brenda was proud. She helped launch a Starr, but as Mariah's fame skyrocketed, cracks began to form. By the late 90s and early 2000s, Brenda was struggling. Her third album with Sony flopped. She was just dropped from her label. She was working odd jobs just to pay the bills. Meanwhile, Mariah was selling out arenas, collaborating with the biggest names in music, and living in mansions. The contrast was painful. The silence between them grew deafening. Some say Tommy Mottola's controlling nature drove a wedge between the two women. Mottola was notoriously protective of Mariah, keeping tight control over her image, her music, and her relationships. Brenda felt shut out, like she'd been erased from Mariah's story, despite being the one who started it all. Then came the Wendy Williams interview that changed everything. Brenda sat across from Wendy and let loose.
Wendy Williams ended up calling me to go do her show. So I went to go do her show, and she's like, "Oh, how come you and Mariah don't talk no more?" I says, "Oh, it's a long story. I don't even want to get into it." She goes, "I know you've been doing radio. Wasn't she supposed to do your radio show? You know how Wendy always gets the dirt." So I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Well, how did that go?" I said, "She didn't show up." She goes, "Well, how dare her?"
She talked about how Mariah had forgotten where she came from. She expressed hurt that their friendship had evaporated. She hinted that Mariah owed her something. Maybe not money, but acknowledgement, gratitude, something.
"I think she owes you." I said, "She doesn't owe me anything." I said, "On the contrary, I'm happy for her. I'm just disappointed that she did that to me."
The interview went viral. Fans were divided. Some felt Brenda had every right to be upset. Others accused her of jealousy and bitterness. The comment section became battlegrounds. Brenda later admitted Wendy brought out the worst in her. She regretted how the interview made her look.
Do you regret going on the Wendy Williams show, though?
Yeah, I do, because I think it kind of ruined our friendship.
But the damage was done. The mentor and protege who once stood side by side were now worlds apart. Their friendship reduced to tabloid fodder. But wait, there's a twist. In 1998, Mariah recorded a cover of I Still Believe. It was seen as a tribute, a public acknowledgement of Brenda's influence. Mariah even spoke about Brenda's role in her career during interviews promoting the song. But it didn't repair the friendship, and for Brenda, it felt like too little, too late. A song couldn't replace years of silence. Most artists would have given up, but Brenda K. Starr isn't most artists. After being dropped from Sony, Brenda made a bold move. She pivoted to salsa and Latin tropical music. She embraced her Puerto Rican roots and threw herself into a genre that felt like home. It was a risky gamble. Freestyle fans might not follow her. Latin music audiences might not accept her. But Brenda didn't care. She needed to reinvent herself, and she was willing to bet everything on it. And guess what? She dominated. Her songs Herida and Pobre Sombre shot to #1 on the Latin charts. She became a 2-time Latin Grammy nominee. She wasn't just back, she was thriving in a way she never had before. The Latin music community embraced her with open arms. She found a new audience, a new sound, and a new sense of purpose. Brenda proved that reinvention is possible, that you can fall, get back up, and conquer an entirely new world. She showed that failure isn't final, it's just a plot twist. But just when things were looking up, another storm was brewing. If you thought the Mariah drama was intense, wait until you hear about Brenda's on-air feud with salsa legend La India. It's 2009 and a radio interview with two powerful women and a whole lot of unresolved tension. It started with comments Brenda made about Mariah Carey. La India, who was also on the show, took offense. The conversation escalated quickly, spiraling from professional disagreements to personal attacks. La India mocked Brenda's career decline, calling her Brenda Kmart, a brutal jab, suggesting she was a discount version of a Starr. The nickname was devastating, implying Brenda was cheap, irrelevant, a knockoff. Brenda fired back, calling La India porky. She also made cutting comments about La India's vocal style, saying she sings through her nose. The insults flew back and forth like daggers. The argument was messy, personal, and unforgettable. The clip went viral, racking up millions of views on YouTube. Fans picked sides. The Latin music community was divided. Radio stations played the audio on repeat. Everyone had an opinion. But here's the reality. Both women were fighting from a place of pain. Brenda felt overlooked and undervalued, constantly compared to Mariah, and dismissed by an industry that once worshipped her. La India felt disrespected, tired of Brenda bringing up Mariah's name as if it gave her permanent relevance. And in that explosive moment, two icons clashed in a way that would define their legacies. So, what's the real story of Brenda K. Starr? She's the girl who made it big at 14, the freestyle queen who ruled the 80s, the mentor who discovered Mariah Carey and changed pop music forever, the woman who lost everything, reinvented herself, and became a Latin music icon. But she's also the woman who spoke her truth, even when it cost her, who refused to stay silent when she felt betrayed, who clawed her way back from rock bottom, not once, but twice. Brenda K's story isn't just about fame and feuds. It's about resilience. It's about what happens when you give someone their big break and they soar without you. It's about the price of ambition, the sting of betrayal, and the power of reinvention. Did Mariah Carey owe Brenda K. Starr more than one song? Did Brenda's bitterness overshadow her brilliance? Or was this just the harsh reality of an industry that chews people up and spits them out? The answer depends on who you ask. But one thing is certain, Brenda K. Starr's story is far from over. She continues to perform, to create, to fight for her place in music history. Because legends don't fade, they evolve. And Brenda K. Starr, she's living proof.